Hello, Clive Carroll. Welcome to my podcast.
Nice to be here, Cam.
Thank you so much for coming along to Spring Hill again.
My pleasure.
For sitting down with me.
Home from home for me.
2 years ago, you played here at the gathering.
RMMGA, yeah.
And it was my sort of first one after a long break.
Okay.
I used to go to Buxton.
Yep.
Where they had
I remember it well.
And then took a long break. So the first one I came back to was the one you played at. And I hadn't heard you play. You played on the Sunday, and I was scheduled to leave sort of after tea time to drive up the road. And Dan said to me,
fair trek, haven't you?
You don't want to do that. He said, you've got to hear Clive. So I stayed, and I did, and I'm very, very glad that I did.
All right, then.
That was a great night. It was a really great night. And since then, I bought your CD, and I've been following you since, listening to your music, and just being mesmerised and inspired. And
well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then last year, Will McNichol was here.
Yeah.
We had a chat on the mic, and he spoke very highly of you and your mentorship and everything.
Yeah, last year
done.
he put out an album. I can't quite remember the title. Butterflies and Bumblebees and
Frogs,
Hordes of Locusts or something. Yeah, it was a lovely project, you know.
Yeah.
Dragonflies, that's it, wasn't it? Yeah,
Bumblebees and dragonflies and frogs.
Something else, yeah. It's
good music. It's very good music.
Yeah, he brought a whole bunch of tracks to me, and I think he wanted me to act as a kind of producer, but really, I just helped very little, to be honest. He was kind of almost perfect when he arrived. I suggested a few tweaks, and then he just went away and practiced them, and then 5 seconds later he came back and played it all perfectly.
Good.
So, yeah, I think he was happy with the results, you know.
Yeah, and he's been doing great.
Interesting pieces, and yeah.
So, I've heard you talk about your past. You had a musical family, right? You grew up with folk music, was it?
As well, yeah, all sorts of stuff really. My mum's from County Clare, so she was brought up in that kind of show band world as well as the Irish traditional music circuit. So as a kid she learnt the accordion, the button accordion. In actual fact, one of her accordions is made from the back of a chair. And my dad is from Essex. He's been dead for over 10 years now, but he played the bowron and the clawhammer banjo style. He loved tinkering with repair work. He made my first banjo for me when I was 2, though I don't remember it. Probably just walked on it or something, but I still have it. It's about this big, and I have it hanging on the wall. It's playable, stays in tune. And he also made amps for electric guitars, and he made there was a band, right? So there was my mum, dad, my sister and myself, and we had a drummer called Graham as well. And he kind of did backing vocals too. He came from more of a rock and roll background, and he liked to smoke a lot, you know. When we were kids, we played in pubs and clubs.
Yeah.
And
so how old would you have been?
Oh, like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, picked up a few chords, and we were learning all the Irish traditional songs like Danny Boy, Whiskey in the Jar, Leaving of Liverpool, you know. I'll Tell Me Ma.
I think I know
40
all of
Shades
them.
of Green, The Fields of Athenry, the Works, Grace, The Town I Love So Well, all that kind of stuff, you know. And then some country hits too. But Graham was hysterical, the drummer, because it was in the times where everyone just puffed like chimneys, right? And there's my sister and myself. I mean, who knows if we've got any damage? You know, hopefully not. But we certainly inhaled many cubic litres of stale cigarette smoke. And he smoked as well, but we enjoyed, we got into people like Chuck Berry,
right?
When we, like my sister and myself, turned 10, 11 kind of time. We got given electric guitars, and I'd start the riff, the classic Chuck riff to Johnny Be Good, and then he would come in, he'd be lighting up a cigarette, and I go da 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 da, and that's it. And then we'd have these extended solos, and part of the reason why we extended the solos is because we enjoyed watching his cigarette get shorter and shorter and shorter, and the smoke was coming out of his nose and like his ears or something. And by the end of the song, he'd exhale, and there'd be just plumes of smoke coming out because he didn't want to take it out of his mouth. So. Yeah, that was good fun. Good ear training, I guess, because
you have
the chords are
an
pretty
ear for
simple.
melody as well from a lot of the sort of Irish like fiddle tunes and
whistle
tunes,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
Yeah, they really kind of hit me, those tunes. That's where I come from, I guess.
Yeah,
you have to find out where you come from. You come from somewhere, I guess.
So it's interesting. I was talking with Dan earlier on. Dan who arranges all of this, and we were talking about some of your compositions, and he was saying that imagine if you got a tune from Senegal that was sung by a choir and whatever it was, and you were asked to arrange it and play it, and would it sound like Clive? And he said, well, who is Clive? So we had a really good discussion about musical influences and about the fact that you might play different genres in any given show or whatever. It's whatever comes out is going to be you.
In an interesting place geographically, I guess. Certainly pre-internet. I think we both existed pre-internet, right?
We did. Yes.
And people from Ireland have got that culture, haven't they? All those jigs and reels and all that kind of stuff. It's relatively new in the history of Irish culture, but still, it's there ingrained in that world. And so does Scotland and all those Celtic countries like Galicia, and America has their roots from various sources, probably from the Outer Hebrides and Africa, I guess. But maybe the reason the Beatles were so successful, they were there at the right place at the right time. What is English traditional music? Well, there are folk tunes. There's
Martin Carthy.
I mean, the tunes are there.
Sea shanties.
Yeah, but it doesn't quite do it for me the same as an Irish melody does. And I mean, the whole of Ireland was just ecstatic at the thought of Riverdance becoming an international sensation. I just can't see that happening with English Morris dancing. So instead of embracing our own culture, I guess we've just been begging, borrowing and stealing, as they say, from various other cultures. And there are a lot of Irish immigrants landing into Liverpool. Then you've got all the blues, early rock and roll, skiffle stuff as well. That area was just a hub. No wonder some of the most memorable melodies ever created come from that area. And for me now, I mean, things have changed. That's why I mentioned the internet. Just you can be immediately influenced by anything from an early age.
Yeah, that's very true.
Before I had to go to... Oh yeah, right. Growing up, she's a multi-instrumentalist, right?
Yeah, and she learned stuff from YouTube.
Yeah, sure.
The idea of an album. What?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, people can't be bothered with albums these days, can they? Yeah.
Walking around with music on her phone, just listen to the speaker.
Yeah, I know. And how much do people spend going into Abbey Road to get their album mastered? It's just going to be pumped through an iPhone anyway, isn't it?
I know. Yeah.
That's the good thing about vinyl, I guess. You can't play it in the car. You have to actually sit down and listen to it, and the chances are it's going to be played through some decent speakers. Yeah,
that's it. Vinyl is definitely on the rise, isn't it?
Is.
Do you publish your albums?
I thought about it, but I just I'm a bit disorganised, I guess, so just haven't done it. But I'd like to. Yeah.
So you must travel a lot with your music, I presume, touring and.
I do travel a lot. Yeah, last year was really pretty exhausting, and I kind of vowed, well, I said at the end of that tour that I might start to slow up a smidge because I played everywhere from California to China.
Wow.
And it's just the time zones. I remember I was playing in at the Kaufman camp in Maryville, Tennessee, pronounced Merville.
I went to one of them.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was there just week before last.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so it's around about this time of year. I went straight from Merville to Changsha in the Hunan region. So that's like the opposite side of the world when you're going from Tennessee to south central China. And then after that, I was working at the Swannanoa Gathering in North Carolina.
I know the one. I haven't been to that one.
Yeah, that's fabulous place to study if anyone's interested in a residential summer course.
Yeah.
And then back to England. Then I was up to Germany and France and Belgium, and up to Scotland. I came up to Scotland, and then some other I mean, it was just too much.
You can't even keep track.
Yeah. So I guess it's good if you do it in blocks, but I'm grateful for the work I'm offered. Which means that I kind of take it, and it's difficult to say no. And that when you're sitting in your armchair at home, you think, "Oh, it'll be fine." But when you actually live it, it's completely exhausting. When you get to a level that some of these extremely famous players are at, then you can pick and choose where and when you want to play, I guess.
I saw you in a American guitar store. You were on a video playing some vintage Martins. 1930s.
Oh yeah, that was in Seattle. Yeah, Emerald City Guitars in Seattle.
And you talked about there, and you played some Irish music, which was great.
What did I play? Yeah, I was
Catherine Kelly's, I think you played, or Kate Kelly's, or
there was a slow one. The Wild Geese.
Yeah,
I played the Wild Geese, which is about the flight of the Earls, the Irish being hunted out of their own country.
Yeah,
and I ran that into the Cavalry March of the O'Sullivans. Yeah.
That I think it's one that I know as Catherine Kelly's.
Okay, maybe, yeah.
A lot of these tunes have got multiple titles.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. To be honest, I didn't know the title for years, and I thought I'd better do a bit of research. I think I heard maybe the Chieftains play it.
Okay.
So I think it opens one of their albums, and they call it Cavalry March of the O'Sullivans, so I'll stick with that, so that was on a newish Martin guitar, a larger body guitar. And then they gave me this... Well, they gave me another guitar, but it was a brand new, very expensive instrument, but some guitars just sound horrible.
That's very
true.
I thought
I really want to, do something decent whilst I'm here. So they went to their special kind of glass cabinet section and pulled out a $40,000 pre-war Martin for me, which appeared to be satisfactory. Yeah. So I played an old Mingus tune on it.
Aye.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So you're playing Ralph Bound's guitars just now?
Same old one. Yeah, I've got 2 Bound guitars, both OMs. And I love, so for the purposes of what I do, I can usually only afford to tour with one guitar. So the OM kind of, is a multi-purpose instrument.
Yeah. That's got a great sound. It's a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, certainly played in.
Yeah.
It's got loads of splits on it. It's bashed up and the pickup system keeps breaking.
Oh, gosh.
There was one time when it broke in Santa Cruz when I was touring around the place with Tommy Emmanuel, and we ended up putting the guitar into a repair shop, and I played my concert on Tommy's main guitar.
Right.
And then as soon as I got off, we just, got the pliers out, just went snip, cut all the strings off, ripped them out and put a brand new set of strings on. Then he went straight on and did his gig on the same guitar.
Wow.
But it's kind of funny because, the music I write is kind of contrasting to his style, which is maybe a reason why he likes to have me on the road sometimes, I guess. I don't know. But my Elizabethan lute music, instead of sounding kind of delicate and intimate through his guitar, it sounded like an AC/DC concert.
Okay. Yeah. I'll say about your playing, one of the things that stood out to me was how much tone you can wring from a guitar. The way you move your body as a sort of fulcrum, and there's a lot of movement there, but the tone is just exquisite.
Well, all right.
It's just delightful.
Well, just trying to create what I hear in my head, I guess.
So when you're composing then, Clive, do you compose in your head, or do you compose on the guitar, or do you do something different?
It's a mixture of all sorts. There's a lovely little Persian rug in this room, and I'm fortunate to have something not too dissimilar in my house. And I start at one corner, and I just walk around the edge of it, singing melodies on my own. Yeah, it's kind of like rocking to and fro in a rocking chair, but this is my version. Just keep going round and round and round when I've got a few hours to myself. And eventually you kind of get into this, I don't know, like not a hypnotic state, but you start to really focus on what you want to say. Writing music for film and the telly really helps, because you have to make sure it supports the visual and the script.
So do you do that with the visuals in front of you?
I do that sometimes, yeah. But when you're doing it for yourself, you put every ounce of effort and your whole being into it.
And when you're going through that process, you're looking for melody. Are you hearing harmony? rhythm. And
Oh, maybe sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I find it difficult just to sit down with my guitar, or I play the piano as well. Just sit down and think, all right, let's write something today. It just doesn't work like that for me. I start creating some kind of foundation first. So, I want to write something that has a kind of, a hypnotic sound. So, what hypnotic compositional devices can I think up of? So immediately I'm thinking about just a kind of rocking groove or something, not too many harmonies. Mm-hmm. So you've got something happening, but not too much, and so it sounds hypnotic, right? And then try and sit a melody over the top of that. So I might get a groove in my head, and then I'll spend the next week or two, or year or two sometimes, trying to work up a melody that fits. The thing is that when you're writing for yourself, you want the melodies to sound as free and easy as possible, if you know what I mean. Not forced.
Right.
They can't. Yeah, if they sound forced, then they'll just never work. They need to flow naturally.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. So, but when you're writing to film, the director says, here's the film. It's all been locked in. I need it by Friday. Then you haven't got time to wait for.
Yeah, sure.
Inspiration. You just bring out your toolbox.
Wow. Yeah. And when you have a melody, you've got something you want to take to the guitar.
Yeah.
What's the first step? Well, let's talk about tunings. How do you decide?
I love different tunings on the guitar. Yeah. I've got a handful of tunings that I use quite regularly, but usually I'm thinking about the piece first. So if you can sing the melody, it works. If you can't sing it, bin it. If you're writing in that sound world, if you're writing some kind of textural music that has no melody, then that's a completely different way of composing. But if you're writing something kind of tuneful, you've got to be able to sing it. Then it'll work on any instrument.
Yeah.
Then I might mess around on the guitar, just to have it there, or the piano, or something, just to get the chords right. And after that melody and the chords have been written, things can still change, but at least I've got something to work from. And then I think about the actual orchestration, or I suppose the arrangement on the guitar.
Yeah.
It's amazing how different it can sound, from just a simple melody on the first couple of strings and playing it over the chord of C, to putting the guitar into C tuning and having some like suspended strings and things, and the sounds, and that can transform a piece. So so it's good to. I like to have the piece written, and then the next task is to create the arrangement. I find it hard to compose the melody, the harmonies, the structure, and arrange it on the guitar all at the same time.
Do you have tunes that you just wake up with?
You
feel like you didn't write them?
I'm pretty quick with tunes, melodies, can come up with them straight away.
The famous story of Paul McCartney playing Yesterday and asking the rest of them, have you heard this before?
That's right, yeah. Didn't realise he'd written it, right? Yeah. Didn't it have a different lyric as well?
I think it was Scrambled Eggs.
Scrambled Eggs, that's right.
Yeah. What about lyrics? Do you ever
I'm useless at it. Yeah. You see these productions where you have words and music by such and such and such and such. I'm the music person.
Okay.
I just can't do lyrics. Yeah, I'd love to collaborate with a lyricist sometime.
Yeah.
It might happen. But
it's interesting. I'm
kind
of the same.
Yeah.
I've tried many times, and I've written one song that I was reasonably proud of, which was a sort of friend of mine died, and I was inspired to write a song from. Sure. And that got me thinking about, because I've always labelled myself as the music guy. Yeah. I wonder if that's actually true, or if I could persuade myself.
I suppose you could do it if you tried. You've got to really want. I've got to really want to do it, but I don't feel that yet.
Yeah.
Got too much to say without any lyrics. Well, I have to say, having said that, I do know some songs. I have learnt some lyrics to songs, and they really, torture me as well. Some great songs.
What about then when you're listening to music? Do you listen to music first, or do you?
I listen to all sorts of stuff. Yeah, the lyrics, if they really hit me, that's a beautiful turn of phrase or something, and and it works well with that melody.
Yeah, I mean, I find it's music first. If that doesn't grab me, then I won't even have heard the lyrics. It's not a conscious thing.
Sure.
It's just kind of how my mind works.
Someone that springs to mind is like hearing the album Pink Moon for the first time.
Nick Drake.
It's pretty devastating, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Oh.
Aye.
Yeah, and 5 Leaves Left.
Is that the one that's famous but a fruit tree?
Oh yeah, the last track.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I listen to all sorts of stuff. Everything from early 14th century music right the way through to
actually everything.
To Stormzy. Yeah.
I think that's twice you've mentioned Stormzy today.
Yeah, I remember hearing him quite a few years ago on Radio 1, like a late night thing. I did like a Lee Westwood thing or something like that, and it was just totally mental. You know, the fluency of the guy was quite extraordinary.
I'm going to have to look him up.
Yeah, I've been tapping him up since. Yeah, and lots of other people. I'm listening to a band called Charming Hostess right now. There's a fantastic album called Punch that people should check out. I've been listening to the Cardiacs, Tim Smith's The Cardiacs, who don't exist anymore, unfortunately, because the main creator, Tim Smith, had a heart attack, as far as I know.
Right.
So,
well, I'm getting it all tonight.
I ended up just, you can support them by buying stuff from their website. So I bought T-shirts from the family and a bunch of CDs.
Gosh.
Yeah. All Ghana music, Oliver Nusson music from a puppet court. It's a puzzle music.
So when you said everything, you actually meant everything.
Yeah, real vast array of styles, and listen to, lots of guitar music as well. Listen to quite a lot of Pat Metheny stuff right now.
Right.
Yeah. Bit of Lightning Hopkins, Shotgun Blues.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's yeah. The 16th century lute music, did you say?
16th, late 16th century, early, like John Dowland, that kind of stuff. William Byrd.
John Renbourn was into that kind of music, wasn't he? Renaissance music.
Yeah. He was reading about it at school.
Okay.
He was fascinated at school, and he used to read. He used to make up stories to tell to his half sister Rebecca. And he used to be Sir John a lot.
Yeah.
Of Merry England. Yeah. He enjoyed making up stories. I think that even right up till the days before he died, I should imagine he would have been jotting down ideas and things.
Yeah.
He had an A4 jotter pad on the road always. And he was petrified of flying. So he used to write down ideas and thoughts and just like free thought and poetry, stories from the road, all that kind of stuff. And when I visited his place one time in the Scottish borders there were A4 jotter pads from the floor almost up to shoulder height. I'd love to know where they are and what's in them,
Yeah.
It's not for me to go prying, but man, wouldn't we all like to read some of those stories from the late 60s, early 70s, especially, the Pentangle years.
All the Bert and John stuff going on.
Sure.
Yeah. You played with John quite a lot, didn't you?
Yeah, I opened up for him in my local folk club back in Essex. And he was very kind to me and offered to help if he could. And I ended up recording my first album under the Old Bridge Music record label, which is run by Chris Newman. I
know Chris Newman.
Beautiful.
He's taught at Kaufman Camp.
He has, indeed, yeah. And he's just one of the greatest flat pickers you'll ever hear. Yeah, beautiful rhythm. That kind of, the fundamental rhythm is really solid with the tune over the top, even if he's got no backing. Yeah. So I'm a real fan of his picking style. And so himself and Moira Hassig, his partner, she plays the lever harp.
Okay.
Yeah, they run this label. So I went up to their place in Ilkley in West Yorkshire when I was about 23, which is just over 20 years ago now. It's a bit of a shock. And I put about, 16 tracks together, sent it to John Renbourn, asked if he'd write, some sleeve notes for it, and when he was flying over to America one time, he probably wrote it in one of those A4 jotters.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Yeah. So he typed it up, sent it across, and I'm eternally grateful for his contribution to the first record, it really helped that it had his name on it.
Yeah.
And he gave me some very lovely quotes that I'll be eternally grateful for too.
Sure.
Yeah.
He endorsed Tony McManus as the best Celtic guitar player ever or something.
Yeah, right.
I've been a fan of
I can
Tony's
understand why.
for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was at Kaufman Camp the year I went,
Oh,
which was 2005.
okay.
And I did the fortnight because I'd gone such a long way.
So, yeah.
I did 2 weeks of flat picking, which
Yeah.
was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, the last time I met McManus was about a year ago in Swannanoa, the other camp.
Yeah.
About, 2-3 hours east of Maryville. And as soon as I saw him, he's coming out with the one-liners already. And the first thing he said to me is, "What do you get if you cross a hurdy-gurdy with a chainsaw?" Now, what's the difference between a hurdy-gurdy and a chainsaw? And the answer is vibrato. Nice to see you. And you see him everywhere. He's just everywhere.
Around. Yeah, he comes to Scotland a lot.
God, you think I work hard, but you see, I could be wandering through some random airport on a tour, and you'll always seem to take McManus in a heap with a pile of bags and CDs and a few guitars. I don't know how he manages.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, he works really hard.
Did you ever play with Bert Jansch at all?
I didn't play with him, but I met him a few times.
Yeah.
The first time I met him was at the Customs House in South Shields, near Newcastle.
Right.
And the bill was myself, Bert Jansch. I keep
Jansch.
pronouncing it wrong. It's not Bert Jansch, it's Bert Jansch, apparently. I just called him Bert.
Right.
I'm sorry to say. And the other guitar player was Pierre Ben Susan.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice bill.
Yeah, it was pretty handy,
Yeah.
So we all sat in the green room wondering, what the running order was. And I just said, I am going first.
Yeah.
So I just went on there and I don't think Bert had played for quite a while, so people were really looking forward to the return of the legend, and he delivered a pretty formidable set. And so did Pierre, There's a whole bunch of stories attached to that event. But anyway, I enjoyed the time backstage with him. And I also heard a lot about him through John Renbourn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I played a lot of Bert's parts.
Okay.
So when I've toured with John, it would be, I'd do whatever, 40 minutes or something. There'd be a little break. John would do about an hour and 15. And he always liked arranging. He had a desk at home, and he liked to play the nylon string quite a lot.
Okay.
Whenever you go around there, he'd have that landscape A3 paper, and he'd be working quite a lot of the time on ensemble music, anything from guitar duets through to recorder or choir ensembles and things, yeah. So he'd be digging out parts that he wrote for Bert way back when, and I can sight read, right?
Yeah.
So I think he kind of liked that, here, have a go at this, and perhaps it was good for him as well to hear these pieces he hadn't played, I guess, for 30 years.
Yeah, I bet it was.
So at the end of the set of an evening, we do things like Lady Nothing's Toy Puff.
Yeah.
You know that one? It's got the high
Bert
harmony. Orlando. Do you know that one?
Not sure I know that.
I think it's on the Bert and John album. And then what else did we do? So Clear. Do you know that piece? Yeah, I think Pentangle covered that as well.
Yeah. I do have the Bert and John album, so
yeah.
I will know them.
Yeah. So my claim to fame is that I played John Renbourn on that Go board that's on the front of that album.
The one?
Yeah.
Billy Connolly said, I don't know what they're doing, selling drugs or something.
Oh man, he hammered me as well, yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, he had the mind for it, a lot of practice.
Well, speaking of that, Billy Connolly, when he made that quip, was on the Acoustic Roots documentary, which I think was 92. Right. And that was the actual thing that sent me to the guitar shop.
Oh, yeah?
To get my first guitar.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
It was Wiz Jones came on and played Angie, and I was just like, what am I hearing?
Yeah.
And I caught it by chance. It was just...
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Flicking channels.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine what it must have been like to hear Davy Graham playing Angie in, like, the Cousins Club or something. I mean, playing two parts at once certainly isn't a new thing. Pickers were doing it in, the late 1400s, mid 1500s and so on. But, you only have to listen to a part of a Bach suite, and it's pretty formidable. But I guess in the folk world, to hear a kind of separate descending bass line from all the boom chick stuff that preceded it was a bit of an opener.
Well,
I'm guessing.
Davy Graham brought some music from North Africa, didn't he? Wrote some of
Yeah,
those
there's a quote
rhythms.
from Renbourn, isn't there? You know, the rest of us had our sights on Brighton Pier. Davies had his set on Persia. Something like that.
Yeah. Aaron Burt was influenced by a lot of the American blues guys.
Yeah.
Brownie McGee.
That's
Sonny
right, yeah.
Terry.
Bill Broon. Yeah, some of them
Bill
came
Broon.
here, right?
Yeah, they came over on the boat.
Yeah, it must have been great to see it firsthand, you know.
Yeah, I mean, imagine what London must have been like at that time.
I know, sure.
And this whole thing was just bubbling around the folk clubs, and feels a little bit like that now. It was Acoustic Uprising that was published a couple of years ago, a documentary, and the young sort of generation of modern fingerstyle players.
I guess so, yeah. There can be some similarities there. Yeah.
But now we've got the internet as the meeting ground, so there's no smoky clubs anymore.
No. Still
YouTube.
seeing it in person is still the best, though.
Yeah.
I remember playing down in a place called Rockport, which is near Corpus Christi by the Gulf of Mexico, with John Renbourn one time. And we went to the organiser's house afterwards, and he lived way out there. I don't think anyone troubled them. They were in such a remote location, not too well off either, I don't think. You know, a lot of humidity and the smell of gas, and everyone from the gig came back to the party and everything. And I tell you, this bloke picked up an old F-hole Epiphone, and his wife sang, and that was, for me, that was the real deal. In the deep south, hearing some raw blues.
Awesome.
And I stole some ideas from that night that I'm still using in my set now. Yeah.
I had that. I went to Atlanta. I used to go over to a guitar gathering run by a friend of mine who I met online, basically.
Okay.
It was mostly Americans that came to it. A few Brits, but because I used to fly in on the Thursday night, so I was one of the first. And he would take me into downtown Atlanta to this club called Northside Tavern.
Okay.
And you'd get some authentic sort of Atlanta blues in
Yeah,
there. It
sure.
was really special.
Cool. Yeah. The Attic, that's another nice venue in Atlanta.
Right?
Yeah.
So you know Northside then?
I was in Atlanta about 2 weeks ago.
Ah.
Yeah, played a concert down there. Yeah.
Wow.
Drove down from the Smoky Mountains.
I bet it's hot there just now.
What's that?
I bet it's hot there now.
Oh yeah.
Humid.
Holy moly. It's like 45 degrees and 90% humidity or more.
Gosh, yeah. You're travelling with guitars that soak that up.
Yeah, sure. And I went to the Ralph Stanley Museum as well.
Wow.
Which is like, it's in Virginia, but it's like the other side of the Shenandoah Valley and just down a little bit, near a place called Wise. And I tell you, there's something special up in those mountains. You know, they're all a bit feral or something. But the music kind of sounds a bit different when you're up there somehow. Yeah, can't quite explain it.
Well, a lot of sort of Scottish and Irish music that ended up around sort of the Appalachian region. And
Sure. And when people moved there centuries ago, or, well, not that long ago really, but they were pretty isolated. Weren't they? You know, just stuck on top of a mountain and just told to get on with it. You know, no massive road network, and so you have all these like regional music styles and variations upon the traditional tunes from the British Isles. It's kind of
Nova
fun.
Scotia got the Shetland style, didn't it?
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. New Scotland.
Aye.
Yeah, and then you get the Cajun music.
Yeah, we did go to Louisiana.
Oh, did you?
When I was just about to start university, I went off, 21 years old.
Okay.
4th of July, New Orleans. Whoa.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just mind blowing.
So they came from Arcadia, right? And then they were forced they were forced to leave. So they went down to the deep south, and the Southerners didn't pronounce it Arcadia. They just called it Cajun.
Oh, right, I never knew that.
That's where it comes from.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Fancy that.
Good stuff. Yeah, in actual fact, I learned how to play the Cajun Triangle via YouTube.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was working on a project for a film one time, and I needed this kind of vibe, so I got a friend of mine playing a kind of button accordion, just hammering it. It wasn't. You know, have you ever heard a Cajun accordion in real life?
Don't know that I have.
They're deafening.
No.
Yeah, really overpowering. You know. So anyway, I just got him to, just give it a bit of welly, and I play a bit of fiddle, but it's really bad. And my friend of mine is like, used to play for the London Philharmonic, and the two of us together sounded about right. There's a kind of Balfour Brothers vibe to it.
Yeah.
The guitar part's fairly straight, but a key part is the Cajun Triangle. And the triangle is not like an orchestral triangle; it's like this, made out of a fence post, metal fence rod.
Right.
Yeah, you just chop a bit off the end and you bend the rest of it into 3, and then you can kind of hold it and release it to get
percussive sort of sound.
But in the studio, it was there was a slap back off the walls. So I climbed into a wardrobe and put duvets over the doors. And I wondered what my life was coming to as I had headphones, a Cajun Triangle, boiling hot in a wardrobe going like 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
You ever been to Cuba?
No, I'd love to go though.
No.
Yeah.
They say it's changing now, a lot of the old traditions.
I know, yeah. Am I missing it? I feel I missed all the kind of Transylvanian mountain stuff as well. All that kind of Romanian gypsy folk music.
Right.
I don't know if that's still going on. But
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Cuba and down into South America as well.
Yeah.
If I can. Yeah, I'd love to go to Argentina and hear the Piazzolla tango firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah. So much music, so little time, isn't there?
Sure. Yeah, that's the thing. When you're writing music, you have to be very specific about what you want to say. Otherwise, it all starts to sound the same.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the whole idea of self-expression is something I'm beginning to become comfortable with now.
Okay.
In my own music. So I have come up with some compositions and some things have just come to me that...
Yeah.
And I actually started to perform them.
Oh, cool.
I had the confidence to do that. In fact, last year was the first time I'd performed a particular piece, and the plucky dip that goes on. I think you're down for that.
Oh,
actually. Yeah, your name went in the hat actually.
All right.
And
Fair enough.
I can't remember who you're with. Dan has the list.
All right. Okay.
Last year I was picked with Gordon Giltrap, who's
Sure. What did you play?
I played my own composition.
Oh, right. And he backed you up.
And he backed me up, and it was what a moment.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
So it's given me a real confidence in believing that I can express what's in me.
Yeah.
And not be fearful of how it gets judged or...
Oh, who cares? Just don't give a monkeys about that. As long as you mean it, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
and
it's a good feeling.
Yeah. Just write what you feel, and if it works for you, it's going to come across that way too.
Yeah. And it did. It really did that time. It was special.
Yeah. So if you try and force something, it will never come across right. It'll never feel right.
Yeah, I had a good talk with Dan about that earlier. It was interesting. Had so many great discussions this weekend. To come here as a guitar player for a weekend and leave the family at home, it's just like,
sometimes you need that space, don't you?
It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to write music when, in your home environment.
Yeah.
I've got a friend actually, he lives in a kind of nice place, but it's small. He hasn't got space for a workshop or a work room within the house. So across the courtyard, he just bought a one room. It's one room. I'm not sure if it's got any windows. I think it's just got like a bare light bulb, But it's just that process of leaving the house, going for a quick walk or a cup of tea in a cafe or something, and then coming back and going to that room. Then you're in work mode. Yeah. Yeah. I can't do it so well at home.
Interesting.
Yeah. Though I do use the rug.
Persian rug.
Yeah. Sometimes I just go walking in the fields as well with dictaphone.
Right.
Yeah. Sing a bunch of ideas, play it back, and then see if anything really clicked.
I was going to say you should have a dog, but I guess you're travelling so much.
Yeah, no, it's just I just wander about the fields in North rural Essex. Yeah. I'm not the first to have done that.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Gustav Holst lived nearby. The guy who wrote the Planets.
I know.
He lived from 1918 to 25, something like that, in Thaxted, which is one of the homes of English Morris dancing, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could literally be walking in Holst's footsteps then?
I guess so, yeah. I used to walk there with Rafe Vaughan Williams. Yeah, they both just going for neither of them enjoyed walking, but I think they just like being with each other and having a bit of a chat.
Yeah.
Just getting away from everything. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So have you got new material coming out soon that we can look forward to?
The latest piece I've written is for a guitar, the RGT acoustic guitar syllabus.
No.
It's in classical music, when you're studying, you can do like your grade 1 or your whatever, up to grade 8. And there's one called RGT. It's by like the London College of Music, I think. And they asked me to write a piece for the grade 8 syllabus.
Okay.
So that was my brief. It's nice to have a brief.
Yeah.
They already had maybe like a Celtic piece and a folky sound in tune, and they needed contrasting work. So they suggested a kind of bluesy, jazzy kind of thing, an American sounding tune.
Right. So not in the deep then.
No. Yeah. That's a tough one.
That's a tough.
It sounds simple, but it's a bit tough on the fretboard.
Yeah, you can tell.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the first person I turned towards was Jerry Reed.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to write something in that kind of vein.
Kind of thumb picking style.
Yeah, kind of. So yeah, he was a kind of funky player. He was a bit different to the other country players. 'Cause instead of it being a kind of quick step, he liked the more of the kind of funk angle. Mm. So, The Claw, for example, by Jerry Reed, is one of his big hits. It's an iconic opening riff on a nylon string guitar he played. The top 2 strings were doubled for the most part. Right. The first and second strings were always kind of played at the same time because he liked to join these 2 fingers together like that. His technique was kind of like that. Wow. Almost like a claw. Yeah. So Chet Atkins nicknamed him the Claw, or that piece the Claw or something. So when you hear his music, you'll hear thumb, index, and then those 2 together. And they're always together, those like the third and second string or second and first string. Yeah, and it's a real groovy style, Wow. So that was my brief. Write something that was about grade 8 level and sounds a bit like it was a nod to Jerry Reed.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we need to sign up for the course then to learn that one.
It's printed in their book, in their syllabus. So, yeah, pick it up.
Great.
Yeah.
Any travel plans coming up soon after this?
What month is it?
It's just coming into July.
Beginning of July, yeah. So I'm back to America for the Swannanoa gathering in North Carolina at the end of July.
A lot of Scots in North Carolina.
Certainly are. Mm. Yeah, lots of Scots, lots of history.
Aye.
Yeah, rich landowners bringing their music from the Outer Hebrides to rural America. It's probably how the blues was formed, right? I reckon.
Could be.
Yeah. Well, if you listen to all that Gaelic psalm singing from the Isle of Lewis, for example, you hear there are a few melodies within that Free Church of Scotland world. Classic ones like the Dundee.
Right.
Yeah, and there's some French ones in there. The melodies are kind of pentatonic, but they have these ornaments in them that the presenter would have orated to the congregation. Have you heard that stuff?
Not really.
So they start with, like, in America they call it liner music, lining. So it's for people who couldn't read or write. So they sing the first line, and then the people in the front pews would start off, but then it would gradually work its way to the back of the church. But by the time the people in the last few pews were singing that line, the presenter had already started the next line.
Okay.
So you get this kind of real wave sound. Yeah, it's quite haunting, it's quite eerie. But those pentatonic ideas with that ornamentation was injected into the southern states.
Right.
And I think that if you couple, this is my own theory, I reckon if you coupled that with African rhythm,
you get
slave rhythm, then you've got a kind of blues vibe, right? There must be something in there.
You could write a paper on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, someone could.
Someone could.
Yeah, I'm not clever enough.
So if Swannanoa, then you've got what's after that?
So that's end of July, into August. And then I come back and I'm going to Germany. Yeah, I play in southwest Germany. Germany's a great place for me.
Good.
The audience is really appreciative. Loads of people that kind of come back to me with, stuff they like and places they'd like me to play and stuff, German.
Do you ever play in Luxembourg?
No.
But
I really want to.
I have a contact.
I had an
there.
offer. Yeah,
I could put you in touch with.
Yeah, I'd love to play.
There's
in
a cafe in the north. I mean, Luxembourg is the size of Glasgow.
Sure, right.
It's not a big place.
Yeah.
Up in the north, they've got this little cafe which who have I seen there? Tony McManus,
Okay.
Don Ross,
Yeah.
Peter Finger,
Okay.
Pierre
So
Ben
it's a bit of a hub
Susan.
there then.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful. It's my favourite venue of all time,
Okay. Oh.
and I think
thanks
you
very
would
much for
enjoy
that.
playing there.
Yeah. Well, this time in August, I'm working in a place called Das Kulturgut. It's in a small village called Bechtolsheim, and it's near Mainz, kind of Worms, Mainz area, wine country. And in actual fact, across the cobbled footpath from the concert venue is a very well-known winemaker called Brett's.
Right.
Yeah, some of the best red wine in the world, I think.
Wow.
Red wine, and it's German.
See, I know we used to get the Moselle wine in Luxembourg, and then the
Okay.
German border. You got the white wine from the
Yeah.
Moselle.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Luxembourg was awesome. I
Yeah.
lived there for 7 years.
Yeah.
Kids
Oh,
were
very
born
good.
there,
Wow,
yeah.
wow. Well, after that, I head back to England, and we're in Spring Hill House right now, and I hold a residential guitar workshop every year.
Okay.
It's a 4-day course. And
You got spaces left?
No, I haven't actually. I'm running it twice. I was really fortunate to fill the course 2 times.
Great.
The whole course, it's it's sold out really quickly.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, within half an hour, both courses. Yeah, so I was really pleased about that.
So you and Depeche Mode.
Delighted, you know.
Great.
And people really like coming to this place, and you know they like.
Well, I can see why.
Yeah, I choose 3 or 4 contrasting pieces. There'd be like something from the loop world maybe, or something that's a kind of classical, or maybe a tango. Something that's usually associated with a classical guitar, perhaps, and maybe a blues or jazz piece, and something slightly more modern. Then we have an arranging afternoon.
Yeah.
And I have a special guest come in as well. After a couple of days of solid guitar workshop, people are totally destroyed, so they're sitting there kind of in a heap in the music room. And so I wheel in. Well, in the past, I've had Gordon Giltrap actually come in and give a demonstration, play a few pieces, and talk a bit about his life. And John Etheridge has been here, and Ray Burley, the classical guitarist. I even had David Dyke one time, who's one of the UK's leading wood suppliers for guitar makers. Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So maybe sign up for one next year.
Yeah, next year or something.
Next
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's good fun. Yeah, and then after that, I have to say that I'm in the UK right up till Christmas pretty much. I've got a full UK tour from September to November.
Are you going to be in
2019.
Ullapool this year?
I'm in Ullapool, beginning of October.
I'm going to try and get up to that. I haven't been to one yet.
Oh, wow, this is year
time.
20. This is year 20, so it'll be
it's
quite
time,
a special occasion, I guess.
And
There's
it's
lots
after
of-
the midges have gone, right? October.
There's nothing there. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I've been up there in the summer, and you can't really be outside after
right.
sundown.
No, sure.
Same on Arran, where I live.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is there any let up at all ever?
If there's a breeze,
That's it.
then
Okay.
you're okay. But
So when's the worst time to visit the Scottish Highlands on the west side then?
about now,
Like June to
June,
August?
July, August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
You get a little moment in May when it's warm enough to go out,
Yeah.
and they haven't arrived yet,
Okay.
and then it's gone.
Yeah, okay. Well, I have to say that I went to Mull in February, so it was a bit blustery,
Yeah.
but it was, on the west side especially, it was one of the most staggering landscapes I've ever seen.
I'll need to get
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
I've been to
right.
Isla, and I think that's Skye. I've
Skye,
been to
yeah.
Skye.
Oh, yeah, just north of there, yeah. Mm.
Great. Well,
Yeah, it's a lot
thank
settling.
you. Thank you, Clive, for sitting
at
down
all.
and having a chat. I know you must be tired after your journey,
That's all right. Yeah.
and I'm
Used to
very
it, I
much
guess.
looking forward to hearing your set tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really nice here because I know a lot of the people sitting in the audience, and it's kind of informal.
Yeah.
And I can play a few different things that I wouldn't ordinarily
Excellent.
chance on the
I wonder if
public stage.
can we look
Yeah.
forward to a late night kitchen session?
Yeah, oh, who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. What happens in Spring Hill stays in Spring Hill.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you, Clive. Once
Not at
again.
all.
It's been great to talk to you.
Yeah, nice to have met you.
Great.
Yeah, till
Thanks
next
a lot.
time.